Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, May 11th. Hope that you had a wonderful weekend. Today, I'm just going to take some time to introduce our new unit, which we are going to be studying Japan. And I'm going to show you Google Earth, and I'm going to introduce Japan's geography, okay? So, everyone, let's get started. Okay, everyone. So before I get started describing Japan's geography, I'm just going to show you um, Japan in Google Earth. So let's look up Japan. Search for it. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. There we go. Okay, everyone. So everyone, you can see that Japan is a series of islands. You can see that it's located, oh my goodness, that it's located east of China and North and South Korea. So you can see how close it is there. So, and then you can see over here, there's a little information. And if you click on it, it'll actually go to this thing. And so it tells you some things. So it's an island country. It's bordered by the Sea of Japan to the west, Pacific Ocean to the east. And so you can see the population, 126.5 million. Capital is Tokyo. Area is 378,000 kilometers almost. Currency, Japanese yen. And so then if you want to check out some of these places, you can click on it and look, it'll like take you there. And so it'll take you to Tokyo if you want to know a little bit more about Tokyo. So that's the capital, of course, of Japan. And so you can see population 9 million. And say I want to go to one of these. Say I want to go to the Sky Tree. And so then I can take a look at it. So that's pretty cool. The tallest structure in Japan. Look at the information. Pretty neat. Height, when the construction started. Add that. And then if I close out of this, I could even get a street view. So this is pretty cool. So then I'm standing in front of it. So that's pretty neat. Okay, so everyone, you can see that those are some of the cool features of Google Earth. Just wanted to show you it because I thought it's pretty cool. Okay, so going back to what we're talking about today, which of course is Japan's geography. So I'm going to start presenting. I'm going to go over some of the points of Unit 3. And so, of course, Units 3 from isolation to adaptation. And so, in this unit, here are some of the key questions. So, how did Japan's geography shape beliefs and values? That's what we're going to be talking about during Chapter 12. In what ways did isolation policy of the Edo period and contact with other cultures during the Meiji period affect the Japanese identity? What impact did contact with Western cultures have on the Japanese worldview? What tensions can occur when a society must adapt to rapidly changing circumstances? And how can different cultures learn to appreciate and benefit from each other? So these are some of the questions. The one that we're looking at today is this first one. Okay, how did Japan's geography shape people's beliefs and values? So shaping a worldview. Now, as we have seen in earlier units, invasion and war were a constant part of the history of Europe and later of the Americas. The ocean waters around the islands that make up the country of Japan provided protection from outsiders. So, to what extent did the ocean isolate Japan from its neighbors? Well, Japan was pretty isolated from its neighbors because of the ocean. We're going to see that the ocean in between China and Japan, it's actually pretty rough, and so it was hard to navigate. And so, how did the geography of Japan influence their way of life and their worldview? And how did it affect their behaviors, beliefs, and values? So, land of the rising sun. So, for centuries, the Japanese have described their country to be the land of the rising sun. So, this is based on a legend. So, Ezanagi had a daughter named Amaterasu, who's known as the sun goddess. So, at one point, she went into a cave, closed the entrance with a boulder, and refused to come out. The world was plunged into darkness. However, the other gods tricked her into coming out, thus bringing back light and hope to the people of Japan. So, this image done by Kunisada Utagawa shows Amaterasu emerging from the cave. And so the rulers or emperors of Japan were considered to be descendants of Amaterasu. So the emperor was believed to be divine or godlike, and he was the representative of the gods on earth. So, going back to geography of Japan, so it's a land of nearly 380 square kilometers. It's about 60% the size of Alberta. So, all of the islands of Japan can fit into Alberta with room to spare. Alberta is 40% larger than Japan. In 1400, Japan had a population of around 12 million people. And so forested mountains, steep valleys cover about 80% of Japan. About 18% of the country is level enough to permit agricultural settlement. The largest flat area in Japan is less than 200 kilometers across. The habitable areas of Japan with high population density are mainly along the coast. So here are some pictures of the landscape. You can see we had looked at the islands of Japan. You can see Tokyo there, of course, is the capital of Japan, located there right on the coast. And so because Japan is an island country, it is geographically isolated from its nearest neighbors, Korea, China, and Russia. The term isolated comes from the Latin word insula, which means island. So some other geographical facts. So Japan is an archipelago consisting of 4 main islands and more than 3,000 smaller islands. Its coastline stretches 2,500 kilometers. The 185 kilometers of ocean between Japan and Asia is very rough, so that makes travel extremely difficult. And so it would have led them to possibly be isolated for a longer period of time because it's harder to get other places. And then the western coast has fewer bays and inlets. The eastern side has many harbors, and there's archaeological evidence that there was contact between the Chinese and Japanese as early as the mid 200s. So basically, the Japanese, they chose freely the elements of other cultures that they wanted to include in their own. So they borrowed Chinese system of writing and characters, the kanji, and over time they started using Chinese characters to write in the Japanese language. Later, a new system was developed that combined kanji with Japanese characters called the kana. And so you can see this is the Japanese system of language, the kana. And that is all for today, but I'm also going to discuss the project, okay? So I'm going to read through the instructions for the project. Okay. So for the project, while we are reading about chapter 12, I would like you to create a country profile about historic Japan. So one of the key questions I would like you to consider when creating this profile is the impact that Japan's geography has had on their worldview, on their culture, beliefs, and values. So very important, when creating this project, you can use your choice of format. So you can create this project in a Word document and a slide presentation. You can do a video profile of Japan, a travel brochure, poster. The only important thing is that you have included all of the key pieces of information that I have listed here. So in your country profile, you must describe these following elements of Japanese culture, okay? So you need to make sure to answer these key questions in your descriptions. So I've also included page numbers for your reference. So the first one today, geography. So describe the location, physical features of Japan from page 265 to 66. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about the role of nature. So what role does nature play in Japan's worldview? So what is the significance of cherry blossoms? How have natural disasters shaped Japan's worldview? What does Stoic mean? Religion was the main religion in Japan. Describe Shinto. And then on Wednesday, we're going to talk about resources and climate. So Japan was a self-sufficient country. What does this mean? What are some of the resources that Japan produces? What kind of climate does Japan have? Japan has this homogenous society. What does this mean? Who are the Ainu people? And so these 6 elements are the main things that you need to include in your country profile, no matter what format you've chosen. So you can choose any of the formats. You just need to make sure that you've included this information, okay? And so here are the key outcomes. So appreciating the role of geographic location in shaping the society's worldview. And so then we're looking at demonstrating an understanding of how Japan's geography influenced their culture, their beliefs, their values. How did nature influence their worldview? And then how did student demonstrates understanding of how self-sufficiency influenced Japan's worldview in terms of Japan's climate, impacting what resources they're able to produce, and then making sure that you clearly and accurately communicate your ideas, that your presentation is free from spelling grammar, and that you demonstrate oral, written, or visual literacy in your projects, so that you demonstrate some creativity in the format of the project that you've chosen, okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to this little presentation. We'll see you later. Have a great day. Okay, bye.